Glenn, thanks for having us.
Hey, nice to be here.
Now, I'm told that you were the first graduate of the apprenticeship program here at Skillcraft.
Yes, it's been a long road, but I learned a lot. You know, it's been about 5 years now, so it's been great.
How did you get into that?
Well, when I started with the company, I started off as a driver.
Driving truck?
Driving a truck, just making the deliveries and stuff. I really didn't know anything about machining, nothing at all. So from there, I went to shipping. I was shipping out the stuff that I had to deliver. So from there, you know, it's like I see these machines, I'm walking by them all day, every day. So I'm like, well, I want to try that.
Right.
So I would hurry up and do my deliveries and all the shipping and stuff. So I would have about 2 or 3 hours at the end of the day. And I would go to my supervisor, like, I want to train on that. So he basically hooked me up with someone and they started to train me on that. So
it was because you took the initiative and said, listen, I'll get all this other stuff done. I want to learn this.
Yes. And the company has been very supportive in that. And it's like, you know, they gave me everything I need, all the tools that I need, and made me feel comfortable about it, because even though I didn't know anything, I was very scared to jump into machining. So they was like, don't worry about it. Whenever you're comfortable enough, I will hire another driver. But until you tell me you're ready to go full-time machining, then, you know, you can still be the driver and do the machining. But I got rid of that fast.
What was attractive to you? Because you said, you know, you went and you got all this stuff done so you could come and learn the machines. What was attractive about working with machines and becoming a machinist? What turned you on to that?
Well, like I said, I'm delivering the parts, I'm shipping the parts, and I'm like, well, how do you make the parts?
You want to know.
I'm seeing the back end of it, you know, so it's like I really wanted to learn how do I make the parts, and it's just making some cool parts and how they perform and everything, and taking trips to other companies to see how they make parts. So I was very intrigued with that. So that's what really drove me to get it to. Plus, I can make a nice living and provide for my family.
Absolutely. Kids?
Yes. I have 3 kids, 2 boys, 1 girl.
So I'm here with Brendan. Brendan, thank you very much for taking a couple minutes to talk to us.
No problem.
Now, you are here at Skillcraft. You are an apprentice here.
Yeah.
How long have you been? You've been here for a couple of years?
I've been here since February of this year.
And what got you into machining trades?
I always like making things, so is that working on cars or working on bikes and you see all the machine parts of that, I'd like to make something like that. And then just kind of got into a trade where I get to make things for a living now.
And now you're doing stuff like this,
Yeah.
2 years in. That's absolutely crazy. What are some of the challenges you had when you were trying to learn machining?
A lot of it was feeds and speeds, and a lot of people just have that feel for it, and you're trying to, I don't know the materials yet, so how is this steel cut versus that steel or aluminum or whatever,
and it's all just an experience thing, right?
Yeah.
The more you do it, the more you figure it out.
So you get it right a couple of times, and then next thing you know, the 3rd time you got it good, and you try and go a little bit faster.
Everything's rolling good. So when it came to the apprenticeship program here at Skillcraft, how did you get involved with that?
So it was during the interview process where when I sat down with them, I hadn't even had the chance to ask if they had run the program. They asked me how I felt about joining the apprenticeship, and that's when I knew, it's all right, this is going to be a good place to be.
And what kind of things have you been doing throughout your apprenticeship? How did it start versus where you are now, 2 years in?
So from the start, it's kind of doing a little bit of the same thing, but it wasn't as structured. Where now I'll get put on the mill for now and go turn this, go grind that, go make this. It's a lot of bouncing around, and it keeps everything interesting where every day is different.
And one thing I did hear from Jacob is with the apprenticeship program, they like to get your hands dirty. They like to get you making chips fast.
Yeah.
Did you find that helpful with trying to learn what you're doing in the machine trades?
They help enough to get you to have the confidence to go and
develop that kind of independence.
Yeah, and everyone here has been super helpful and friendly, and you ask them a question and you're gonna make a part, go over to inspection, you got a question on a print, they'll help you out, or you're trying to figure something out, everyone's down to just kind of get that part out there.
Everybody's here to make you do your job a little easier and a little better.
Yeah, so it's all a lot of teamwork going in, and good apprenticeship so far.
it's interesting because you take care of the apprentices in the apprenticeship program.
Yeah. Yep.
How do you find that has changed over the years? Because there's a huge skill gap right now. What kind of
skill
things
gap.
have you been focusing on with that?
Well, the issue, especially with what we do, is it's very unique.
Right.
What they're teaching in the schools is pretty much production, button pushing, setup. You're not doing anything beyond that. Our requirements is like you're developing the whole tool, the whole job, programming it, setting up, and then doing it all over again all day long. So that skill set, we had to go with an apprenticeship program to backfill because you're not getting it on the outside. We've even just 30-year experience falling down. Coming in, you have high hopes, and because of the type of work we do, it's just not
such
there.
a unique environment.
It is. So, we've had success and we've had failure in that same program, just like anything you're going to do.
Right.
But the value's still there. Teaching them what we do, right ground floor, all the way up through, and that program forces us not to just develop a mill guy and a turn guy. My number one graduate can run every machine in the shop.
You're making well-rounded guys who don't need to, just be put on one thing.
Exactly.
What kind of advice would you have for guys who are looking to get into the trade?
Don't do production.
Don't do production.
It's out there.
Right.
And there's but if you really like using your mind, using your skill set, doing something different all the time, you want to get into a job shop atmosphere like this. And I'm not just promoting because this is what we do. I eat, breathe manufacturing, onesie, twosie, job shop. It's always interesting. There's a challenge. You're never going to be bored. And, I hate the stigma of, oh, you're just a production, oh, that's a dying trade, oh, you're just pushing buttons. I couldn't stand there and push a button all day long. That's not this environment.
Not at all.
This environment, you're doing everything. It's basically a bunch of engineers running machinery.
Right.
Without the degree.
And
yeah, I've got 4 kids and a wife, so I'm very busy. I think you still, because of the work skill set shortage, you're still doing the 5-6 days a week. So I just have to be more cognizant within my own personal life to make sure that my kids don't feel the same way I felt when my father was never around. So I had to scale back and take those times and recognize there's a balance. Because this industry, as busy as we are and as flooded as this market is, and as little of the people that are doing it, you can tend to do 7 days a week. And you just have to realize that you have to work to live, not live to work. So it's still out there. You just got to do it for you, not for that paycheck. And yeah, I love machining, but I love my family too. So.
So one thing that we see time and time again on the forums and out there and talking to machinists is apprenticeship is very important, clearly. How do you guys grapple with that debate that's out there that people are reluctant to train apprentices because if you put all that work into them, someone else can just come along and hire them? How do you guys grapple with that?
So no one's going to do the training for you, right?
Right.
So, we feel that our best bet is to start training these individuals and to ensure that we offer a culture and a company that they want to continue to work for. Right. But ultimately, if they move on, right, we're still training new manufacturers. We're still promoting the industry. And ultimately, if enough of us are doing that, then we're all trading the same people around, and you can always come back and work for us again. We've had several Boomerang employees that have worked out really well. And ultimately, like I said, if nobody does it, then no one's going to do it. And we feel like our company culture, the way that we treat our employees, the team atmosphere that we have here is conducive to keeping those employees here. We haven't had any of them leave for the wrong reasons.
Right.
Because we've had 4 apprentices total. Half of them are no longer here.
Right.
Those 2 didn't make it all the way through their program, but one was 2 years, the other was 3 years through the program. So, unfortunately, one of them, his wife got a job in the Carolinas. you got to go. Another one, he's, he needed some time off in the field. There were some issues through COVID, so, he needed to take that time, and, it's unfortunate, but like I said, if they go off somewhere else, finish their apprenticeship, see in 5 years, come talk to us again, and we're always looking for people, so, it's just adding to that community and adding to the community to ensure that it's going to continue down the road, because, as another 5, maybe 10 years, there's going to be a big exodus, and there's going to be a lot of work to get done.
Absolutely.
And if we're not preparing for that now, then it's going to be really bad.
I agree with you. I mean, there used to be such a large pool of skilled machinists out there. My father started our company as well, and I remember when I was younger, when he was looking for guys, we had a lot of the guys come and go from our shop to other shops, and you'd see the same guy this year, and then in 2 years he'd be hired again.
Yep.
That doesn't happen as much anymore.
Right.
Those guys, if they're leaving the trade, typically they're leaving.
Yep.
So when you're talking about building that pool back up, it's really interesting to hear you say that, because that is what needs to happen. Whether by us or by other people out there all building that pool together, that's what's going to help push this trade forward.
Yeah, and ultimately, my dad did the same thing. He was a Boomerang employee. He came, worked at Skillcraft, left, did an apprenticeship somewhere else, a carling switch, I believe, and ended up coming back and being here for another 30 years.
So your dad actually is a machinist.
Yeah, he's a machinist by trade. He's a tool maker. That was his ordeal, and so a lot of that is what was instilled in me. He likes to tell a story about being on a lathe in August and no air conditioning, you can't see anything, your head's down in the machine, you're sweating on your part, and he likes to tell everybody that he told himself right then and there that he would never have a shop like that if he ever had the opportunity. And so he was a big part of the build out of this location 3 years ago before he retired. And that's really stuck with me. I don't run machines. I'm not a machinist, so I can't do any of this without these guys. And it's really important to us as a company to make sure that they're taken care of, make sure that they understand that they're valued, and to run our business that way.
Now, if you could say one thing or one point to prove with other machining companies out there, what would you want to tell them? What kind of value that you guys have here would you hope to see replicated out there?
Yeah, I think the biggest one is just taking care of your employees. The work that we do here, the type of work that this is, it's not easy, and it's hard work, and these guys, I give them a lot of credit. They got one part to make, and they only got one chance, and they do the programming, they do the setup. They got that thing in the vise, they got to double check, make sure it's tight. Right. They double check their program before they press go, and then they get one shot to hit that tolerance. And if they don't, well, then they've got to try again, and it's hard. So it's not an easy job to do. So I think you got to be appreciative of that and understand that it's a job that they love to do. And I think everybody here loves what they do and loves to get that job done. And so even if that's the guy pushing the button and making the program, or if it's the guy, prepping all the stock and getting all the material ready, we're all thinking about that end product and that end goal of making it as easy as possible.
And if you had one thing you could say to guys who are considering getting into the trade, what would that be?
Wow. Try to get as much exposure as you can. That's really one of the things that I've found, because this is really all I was ever exposed to. I did industrial alignment before this.
Right.
So, I was in big industrial factories, so I didn't get to see a lot of, machining like this. And so doing this for the last 8 years, I've come to realize that a lot of the other shops are kind of compartmentalized, right?
Right.
This guy's really good at shafts. This guy's really good at aluminum. This guy's really good at Inconel. So you almost need to see that spread to get a well-rounded understanding of what it takes to make the product. And that's one of the things we struggle with, because our spread is so wide of what we do. It's like, the guy, hey, I've never done this before. It's like, okay, well, we're going to learn today. And, next time we see it, we'll be better at it. And that's really all it is. Just try to be better the next time.
What are the top 3 ways you manage to retain staff? Is it the AC in the building? Is it paid time off? What are the top 3 things that you would put as actionable items for other shop owners?
Certainly trying to ensure that we're paying a highly competitive wage.
Right.
We do have a bonus program that we run twice a year. So, as long as the company's doing well, we're performing, we like to make sure the employees are being taken care of. And then, operating in a clean environment, you know, it's really important that people understand nowadays that this isn't your grandfather's machine shop, right? It's not greasy, it's not dirty, there's not a whiskey bottle under the in the bottom drawer, you know, the guys aren't smoking at the machines. I mean, this is high tech stuff now,
Right.
And it requires the right type of training and the right type of individual. And if it's something that really, you know, you're passionate about, it's something that you got to pursue because it is worthwhile.
Right.